The Amazing Race is currently continuing their journey across the Kingdom of Jordan, but unfortunately, one team was removed from the race due to COVID. Joining me now, our childhood sweethearts, Abby and Will. How are you both doing?
Doing
Hi.
good. Good to see you.
Good. Little sad.
Good.
Mostly good.
Yeah.
Yes, very valid, very valid. Hey, let's just start with this. Tell me what your overall experience competing on the race with each other was like.
It was amazing. It was a dream come true. We've grown up being big fans of it, watching it since we were 16 in high school, sitting on Abby's couch, building out our strategy, and to be able to get there in the moment and do it together and just see the world, take on challenges and accomplish them together was an amazing experience.
And we had this moment on the race where we were literally just in our hotel room talking, and we've been dating for 9 years, right? So you have the high school phase of oh, I think you're cute and we're friends, so let's date. And then you have the college phase of you enjoy going out together, you make it work, right? And now we live together and we're partners, and that's this totally kind of new thing that we're navigating. And the race is kind of putting that to the test, because how
Mhm.
often are you a team where you really only have each other to rely on in dating? So it brought us so much closer together, honestly. I think I feel more like we're a team than I ever have, which is awesome.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that because I felt like as a viewer, you guys worked really well together on the race and your communication was good. You were always supportive. Well, even when Abby got super excited, you never judged her for it. You just went along with it. So did you guys talk about communication at all prior, like prepping anything, or is that just pretty natural for you all?
I think the amount of time that we've known each other, because we've been dating for 9 years, but we really have been extremely close friends for almost 20. So
Mhm.
we've just naturally, I think, learned how to talk with each other. And I know that Abby's that excited. If I got overwhelmed by Abby's excitement, I wouldn't
We
make
would have broken up a long time ago.
I would not have survived. So I love seeing it. I love her excitement.
Yeah.
It brings me excitement. And
I think the only level of stress was that I am very competitive, and they didn't show
Mm.
this much, but I my brother before we went on was like, Abby, don't be that girlfriend that's really rude to her boyfriend when he's just doing his best. And so I was kind of glad that that side of me didn't ever come out. It was just fun and positive and all that.
we've learned to do, and I think part of the reason you don't see us a ton is because we didn't have a ton of the drama in the show,
Mm.
because one of us was high, the other's low. We balance each other out. We're supportive of each other. So I do think it was a good test for our communication, and it also, like Abby was saying, we came out stronger. I think we know how to communicate pretty well.
It validated me. All our other interviews were we balance each other out. When he's high, I'm steady, all these things. And then it actually did happen. Thank
Yeah,
goodness.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's hilarious. The editing lining up with what you guys said about each other. How perfect is that? Like I mentioned, ultimately, COVID is what took you guys out of the race. So I'm curious from a viewer standpoint, because, we're not always in the know about everything that happens behind the scenes. Did you guys test between each race, or how did it get to the point where you ultimately found out that you had COVID?
Yeah, we tested every day or every other day, just about. And so we ran the leg in Petra. We went to the next spot, and as we were in the hotel, kind of getting ready for the next leg, they did one of their tests, and unfortunately, I had two positive tests. I'm pretty sure. And as soon as we learned that, they kicked us into separate rooms because Abby
Because
is
I
still
was
negative.
negative.
And we kind of knew then, we had been told if you get COVID, it's kind of the end of your race. And so as soon
Mhm.
as we got those tests, we knew.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I was curious. I'm glad you mentioned that you guys were separated because I was curious on that. I was like, why are they in different rooms? That's weird. So, but that
Right.
makes sense. That makes sense now. So, okay, I have to know because I've seen some of your social media posts following last night's episode. Would you guys return to the race if asked, and why?
Absolutely. Please let us return to the race. Oh my gosh. Okay, so part of it is because it lived up to expectations. It was amazing. And so, no matter what, we would have done it again. But given that we went out without being able to put up any kind of a fight, it felt like we had more to give. It felt like we were just getting better. I felt like we were going to peak at the right time. I really thought we were going to be the slow burn team that you don't notice us, you don't notice us, and then we win the last four legs, right?
Mhm.
But we didn't get to test that out. And so it just feels like unfinished business, I think is what I've seen everywhere. And like, it's so true.
Yeah, just so unresolved. And even, even if you're running a leg, if you go out because you do something really stupid or something crazy happens, maybe like in past seasons, you get a bad taxi. At least at that point, you're able to kind of fight for it. You can go in there and you can try to make a difference and catch up. For us, we got that test and we're like, oh wow, we're just done. Like, there's just, we can't give anything.
And you have the time to process it as you're making your way to the pit stop. Like, you see those teams that are like, oh, we know we're in last, and like they come together and they bond over like the experience. It was like we had spent, I don't know, 24 hours, 48 hours, whatever it was, being like, all right, we've at least got one more leg. Didn't.
And then you
So,
did it.
That's
heartbreaking.
It was hard. It was really hard.
It was heartbreaking. And the last thing I'll say is everyone who's ever gone out on the Amazing Race has a story. Like, oh, we didn't get a cab, or like, oh, we couldn't finish that dancing challenge, or we couldn't put that thing together, or we missed that detail. Ours is so just like full stop COVID. And
it's a weird hurdle that you just can't overcome, So if people are interested in continuing to follow along with you and your guys' personal journeys, where can they find you on social media?
I am on Instagram. Will's on Facebook. And I think that's about it. But I'm pretty active on Instagram now. And I have a Twitter. I think I have 5 followers. So
Okay. All right. Well, thank you both so much. It was such a pleasure. It was great getting to watch you this season. I'm so sorry for the way it had to end. And for all of our viewers out there, keep tuning in to The Amazing Race, season 34, Wednesdays on CBS. Thank you both.